All right, welcome back, everyone, to our next episode of the Fantasy Variation. We're getting very, very close to playoff time here for fantasy. We're entering our last week of the regular season, week 14, which is what we'll be previewing this week, as well as recapping me and Colin's game from last week. He's here in the studio with me. Colin, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday night?
I'm good, man. Not gonna lie. Not a lot of things went well for me this past weekend football wise, except for my Colts, baby. Anthony Richardson, don't sleep on him. All the haters, let him know. 3 fourth down for conversions on the last drive, then went for 2, got it on a 2-point conversion. I mean, fire me up. That was a huge win. Love to see it. Colts are back, baby. I'm doing well. How about you?
Hell yeah. And how far are you guys out of the playoffs? I mean, it's still got to be pretty close. And I saw your upcoming schedule. It's like really easy.
Yeah, we're kind of far out of the playoffs. I think we're 2 games back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not as close as it may seem. Yeah, we're 6-7. Broncos are 8-5. So I mean, Texans are still 8-5. So that's not totally out of it, but Texans beat us twice. So not looking good there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I still think you guys have a chance. I don't know it off the top of my head, but your guys' schedule is really easy. If you have any games left against the Titans or the Jags, I think you have played the Jags twice, I want to say, but I'm sure you got one left against the Titans and then a few more easy ones littered throughout the rest of the schedule. So I'll be rooting for you. We'll see if they can maybe pull off the heroics down the stretch.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, good luck. Good luck for the Colts. We're gonna need it.
Hell yeah. And for Anthony Richardson, he's on my fantasy team. So I'm hoping he can perform well. Who knows? Maybe we'll throw him in the lineup come playoff time here. So we'll see. I'm excited to have him on my team. He's definitely shown that he was a worthwhile pickup, at least at the quarterback position.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully you can play him here in a few weeks in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm excited to go to the playoffs, and I guess that might lead us into our recap here of our game. So my team ended up punching their ticket to the playoffs with a win against Colin. It wasn't really a pretty game. I don't know if I really earned it in this one. We ended up bringing it home 112-109. Going into Sunday Night Football, that Bills-Niners game, I want to say I was up by about a point or so going into it. I had Debo and he had Kittle. So we were looking like we were going to have a really good photo finish there. And then that 49ers offense really just couldn't move the ball. I think Kittle actually caught the first pass. I don't remember if it was the first pass or the first completion, but he caught one of the first balls of the game and then didn't see I don't know if it was another target, but he didn't have another catch the rest of the game. So very, very anticlimactic there. Debo didn't really do too much either. I think he had 4 catches for 20 yards and a fumble. So 4 points was enough to get it done. Usually that's not going to be the case. So we kind of lucked into one there to punch our ticket here. I probably would have liked our chances anyways if we would have lost this one with the points for that I have right now. But it's always good to just have that playoff spot locked up and not need that one extra win or things to fall your way in the last week, which we're going to get into in a little bit here. We got some complicated playoff implications with our standings. But how are you feeling about your team, I guess, after this one?
Dude, I'm upset. Like you said, you almost had a playoff spot clinched, and you didn't let me win this one. I really needed it. And I couldn't pull through. Yeah, that George Kittle one was really frustrating. I didn't expect Debo to kind of to go off that much. And like, I don't know if you mentioned you had Kupp and Debo against Kittle, and you were projected to win by like who knows how many. And then Kupp didn't do anything, and I'm getting pumped sitting on the couch watching the games. And I'm like, all right, I got a chance here. And then Kittle gets 1 catch. So ended up losing by 4 points, maybe 3.36 points. But it was another classic week out of my team. We barely scored over 100. So I'm a little frustrated with fantasy teams as of late. I mean, I don't think for once I didn't make a horrible benching decision. Believe it or not, I was considering playing 2 tight ends with Hunter Henry, and that probably would have got me the win, but that would have been insane. So didn't do anything horrible. If I played Hopkins over JMO, I think I would have won by 0.04. So that one hurts a little bit, but nah, we're gonna need a lot to happen here in the next weeks. But I'm happy for you. Congrats on your playoff spot, and hopefully we can get it done this next week.
Thanks. Yeah, and funny thing too, I'm still fighting for a bye here at 7-6. The slip of Riley's team has really left the door open for that second bye, and even Zach's team's been slipping a lot recently, which is he was probably the big front runner to take that bye from Riley, and now he's kind of slipped back. So the door's still open for me and Barrett, as we'll talk about in a second. And the last little thing I wanted to say about our matchup, just shout out to Trey McBride. He's been balling these last 2 weeks. He's got 12 receptions in each of the last 2 games. And the funny stat of the day, I'm sure a lot of people already know this. I just said he has 24 catches in his last 2 games. On the year, he has 0 touchdowns, receiving at least. He does have 1 rushing. And then Nick Westbrook-Ikine of the Titans, he has 20 receptions this year for 8 touchdowns. So things not really breaking Trey McBride's way in the touchdown department, but I'm hoping they come eventually. Their offense is pretty solid. They moved the ball pretty well, actually, against the Vikings last week. They just really couldn't convert in the red zone, or once they got the field goal range, all their drives just stalled out. So I'm still hopeful for Trey McBride from the touchdown department. But yeah, even without him, he's still balling out. So shout out to him. He really put the team on his back this week.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what his touchdown prop is this week. I was almost considering taking that as a best bet because I'm just like, all right, whatever, he's due. But it'll be kind of interesting because like you'd imagine like he's probably only like plus like I don't even know what to guess, maybe 200, which seems insane with the amount of volume he gets, but like he literally hasn't scored. So we'll be interested to see. I'll be checking that out once the lines come out.
Yeah, I might help him out a little bit. I know you can bet on like no touchdown props, so maybe I'll hit him with one of those, and then he is scoring automatically the next game. So I might have to do that first round of the playoffs if we're playing. I should say if we're playing, I might have to do that to see if we can get Trey McBride those extra 6 points.
I like it. I think I'm going to do a no touchdown parlay with like all my crappy wide receivers and like Breece Hall. So won't put Monty in there. He's scoring, but everybody else.
Of course, Monty always scores. Always.
always.
All right. Well, if we're done talking about our game, if you don't have anything else to add, we could probably look into our standings and our like what each team needs to make the playoffs. It gets a little complicated as we go down to some of the other teams. So we'll put them up on the screen here when we talk about each of the teams. I guess the first one I can just say, Ron, first place, 12-1. He's already got that bye locked up as well as the number 1 overall seed. So congrats to him. He's got a great team, and I actually just messaged him before we started recording. He's still projected the most this week without Joe Mixon, without Luther Collins, and now with Christian McCaffrey on IR. So his team is really scary. We'll see if anyone can beat him in the playoffs, but, I mean, anything can happen. He's got to win 2 games of fantasy football, which is never an easy thing to do, even for a good team. So we'll see if it can happen, but as for the playoffs, though, he's in a great spot. So shout out to him, and he's taking home our both of our regular season prizes for best record as well as most points scored. So shout out, Ron. Nice season out of you. Let's see if you can bring it home for your 3rd title, I believe.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Ron does not want to see Marvin Harrison and Breece Hall and Jameson Williams in the playoffs. Those guys will put up the best numbers they've ever put up this year. So be on the lookout, Ron.
Yeah, I don't want Jameson Williams making the playoffs. That's for sure. That's all I got to say.
Not what you want to see. No, but for real though, congrats to Ron. Great season.
Yep.
All right, so here we start to dive in a little bit deeper. I'll talk about Riley real quick. So right now he's got the 2 seed. He's not going to miss the playoffs. He's clinched his spot. But what he can do to clinch a bye is if he wins, he'll get the bye outright. But if he loses, he would need Tommy to lose or outscore Tommy by 27. So if Riley loses and Tommy wins, but he outscores Tommy by 27, he'd still get the bye, as well as a Barrett loss or Barrett doesn't outscore him by 6 points. I think I said that right. Maybe.
Yeah, a little confusing, I guess, some of these scenarios. But basically, if me and Barrett both lose, he's gonna have a better record than both of us. He's gonna have that lockdown. And then if he does lose and me and or Barrett win, he's got to outscore whoever ends up winning their game on points scored throughout the year. So I'm a little bit ahead of him right now, and I believe Barrett's a little bit behind him. So he does have a little bit of a lead on Barrett to start with, but he's gonna have to catch me if I end up winning and he loses. So shout out Ironheads. Let's go, Zach. Let's get a win.
There we go. Yeah, you said that a lot better. I was looking at the standings. Yeah, if he loses, but you and Barrett lose too, then he'll get the playoff or the bye. So lock and go right for Riley this week.
Yep, for sure. And I guess I already talked a little bit about myself and Barrett here. So basically for us, we obviously both have made the playoffs now at 7-6. We have 5 teams that are 5-8. That's why we have clinched. So neither of them can catch, or none of those 5 teams can catch us. So we wouldn't fall below the 6th spot in the rankings, regardless of those results this week. So shout out Barrett making the playoffs. I believe he made the finals last year. He beat me in the semis. So he's ready to make another run, it looks like. He's been doing really well of late, I feel like, these past few seasons. Barrett's had a lot of dangerous teams. We'll see if he can finally punch one home and get his first title. In order to do that, though, I think the scenario is kind of the same for both of us. to get the bye. So we need to win, obviously, to catch Riley, and then we need Riley to lose, and then we'd have to be the leader in points scored out of the three of us. So like we already said, I have a little bit of an advantage so far right now in that department, but obviously Barrett and Riley are both well within striking distance to catch me. So definitely not a foregone conclusion that I'll be leading in points scored. Barrett's definitely got a great shot still to get this bye.
Yeah, he definitely does, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen. He's got a really hard matchup against Team Kittlecorn this week, so good season, Barrett, but you're not going to get the bye.
Dang, that sucks.
Very tough. All right, well then let's move to the Ironheads. So they're currently in the 5 seed. He has not clinched the playoffs yet. He's got, I want to say, like a 93% chance right now, so he can clinch the playoffs with a win. Or if he loses and doesn't get outscored to Elgin by 51 points, as well as Tanish by 76, either or, he's still going to make the playoffs. So as long as Zach puts up, I'd say a comfortable point value would be like 120 to 130. He's looking pretty solid at making the playoffs there.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Zach's team looked phenomenal to start this year, and now he's been sliding much like Riley's team. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think he's lost like 3 or 4 in a row, or like 4 out of the last 5, something like that. So this team's really hobbling into the playoffs. We'll see if he can get it done. I'm surprised 93, like it's even that low. Like a lot of things have to go wrong for him to miss the playoffs. I guess maybe factoring into maybe like 1% of that. That same scenario could happen, and maybe you, Tanish, and Elgin all outscore him in points scored. That's going to be a daunting task. I think you're behind him by 100 some points, but it's still possible, but we don't have it on the sheet because over 100 points we said was probably a little too much to throw on here.
It would actually be 133 points.
Yikes.
So I don't think my team scored that many points this season.
I was about to say, what's your max on the year? Like 128? Yeah, we could probably scrap that scenario.
Yeah, that one's out of there.
All right, I guess maybe our next 3 I'll kind of lump together. We got Elgin, you, and Tanish. I guess maybe I should have said it in order. We got Elgin's in the 6 seed right now, Tanish in the 7, Colin in the 8. All the 5 teams we have left, like I said, are 5 and 8. So they're all definitely within striking distance of making it to the 6 seed, as the 6 seed is 5 and 8 right now. For Elgin, he's definitely in the best spot right now. He's got more points scored than both Tanish and Colin, I guess, as well as Jake and Dean. Those 3 are well ahead of those 2 in points scored. So that's why I'm kind of lumping these 3 together. So what has to happen, I guess, for Elgin to clinch, and I'll try to say this right because we were saying it beforehand and it got like into a big tongue twister. So he needs to win. He's playing Jake. So if he loses, Jake's going to jump him and Zach will still be ahead of him. So that's why he needs to win this week. Everyone else on this list does need to win, I guess I should say, in order to make the playoffs. So that's going to be because of that Elgin Jake game, kind of throwing a wrench in everything, them playing each other. So an Elgin win, and then 2 of 3 of the following things. So the first one would be a Zach loss and Elgin outscores him by 51. So that's the first thing. Second would be Tanish loses, or Tanish doesn't outscore him by 25. And then the third would be you losing, or you not outscoring him by 83. So it's really, he needs to win, and then he needs 2 out of 3 of those things to break his way for points scored. But like I said, he's already got a leg up on both you and Tanish, so he is in a pretty good spot to bring this one home. Like you kind of said with Zach, I mean, as long as he puts up like a solid score, like 125, it's really going to be hard to knock him out of the playoffs, assuming that's enough to beat Nichols.
Definitely. I was gonna say one thing right there. Shoot, I don't remember what it was. Keep going to Tanish.
I was just gonna say Tanish is basically the same thing. A win and then 2 of the 3 of the following. It's the same thing. The Zach loss plus outscoring Zach, but he needs outscoring by 76. The second one's with Colin. He needs him to lose, or Colin doesn't outscore him by 58 points, or Elgin loses and he outscores him by 25. So basically kind of the same thing, a win, and then 2 of the 3 of those conditions for those teams in the 5 to 8 slots. And then Colin's the only one left that we haven't talked about from this group. He's at the bottom in points scored and actually can't really catch Zach, as we said. So his options aren't as wide as Elgin's and Tanish's. I think the only thing we found for him to clinch is that he needs to win. And then he needs Elgin to lose or to beat him in points scored on the year. He's behind by 83. And then also a Tanish loss and to outscore him in points scored by the year, and he's behind by 58. So he needs all 3 things to break his way. If he wins and both them lose, he's good to go and he's in. And then if he wins and one of them wins, he needs the points scored to kind of break his way.
Yeah, so most likely scenario here is when I win against Barrett, Then I was looking at Nichols' team. He's beating the crap out of Elgin, so that's another great thing for me. And then Tanish is playing the one and only Ron. So Ron's beating him. We're into the playoffs, baby. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna score 109 points this week. It's gonna be a barn burner, and the rest is gonna get me in. So love it there.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I want to say the line for that Ron Tanish game is only like a point. So I think this is probably the closest game we've seen for Cole's team in a long while now. He's missing Mixon and Nico Collins this week because they're on a bye. He's still projected the most. So yeah, he's looking good, but this week is probably the most beatable he's probably looked in a while. So we'll see if Tanish can get it done. I know you're not hoping for it, but
trust in Ron. Trust in Ron, baby. All right. Well, the last two are interesting as well. Nichols and Dean, both 5-8 as well. We do have five teams at 5-8. So Nichols can get in. He needs to win. He needs a Tanish loss to Cole, a Colin loss to Barrett, which isn't going to happen, and then a Dean loss to Tommy. Probably not going to happen either. But if Dean loses, or if Dean wins, and Dean doesn't outscore Elgin by 27, Nichols would still get in. So
it's you said Elgin, it's Jake that he would need to outscore.
No, we're talking about Jake.
Yeah, you said Dean can't outscore.
Oh, my bad.
For Elgin,
yep. Yep. You're right. All right, and then the last one too, Mr. Sangos. What is he on? A 4 or 5 win streak? He is on a 5 win streak. He started 0-8. He's 5-8. He's got a 1% chance at the playoffs. I can see it happening. If I don't get in, I'm rooting for him. He needs a win, an Elgin loss, a Tanish loss, and a Colin loss. But he also needs to outscore Nichols by 27. I've seen crazier. I'm pulling for him.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think I'm a bigger favorite against him than Cole is over Tanish. So I'm hoping we can bring this one home. But Dean's team has been playing unbelievable football right now. We're definitely not going to look past him. We got all the guys locking in and ready to go this week. So we'll see if we can get it done. But yeah, we just wanted to show. I mean, our playoff race has been absolutely ridiculous this year. It's been something to watch. Shout out to Dean for making this thing a 10-team race after it was looking rough after 8 weeks. He stuck with it. Bucky Irving's the man. Let's freaking go. Great
trade. Yeah, we kind of we've talked about it a couple times, but what was it? McCaffrey and Puka for Bucky, and who's the other one?
Dobbins and Higgins.
Oh yeah. So looks pretty good. Obviously with CMC out now, Cole doesn't really hurt that much from it, but pretty good trade for Dean. He wouldn't have had anybody in that lineup. So big contributors to that 5 win streak
for sure.
All righty. Well, a lot to come. We'll hope for some good luck for both me and Tommy here, and then the rest of the league, of course. But we'll see what happens.
Not everyone can be happy.
Unfortunately not. But hopefully we'll have all 6 of the playoff teams in here next week, so we can talk playoffs and kind of go over what happened in this crazy week.
Yep.
All righty. Well, with that being said, you want to move to our love hates of the week?
Yeah, let's do it. I guess maybe I can take it away and recap last week's first. We already talked about Bucky Irving, the man. I loved him last week. I forget where he was. He was somewhere in the 20s, I want to say, and he finished as RB1 on the week with 27.5 points. So awesome week out of Bucky. It was great to see. I'm really sad I traded him away in Dynasty, so that's been eating at me pretty much every day now. So I'll have to live with that for the rest of his career. But as for these love-hate lists, I can still go out and pick him. So I'm going to keep doing so if he's got a great matchup like he did last week, and he delivered. We'll see if he can keep taking away touches from Rachaad White, which he should be. I think Bucky Irving's a much better running back than him, as he's proven. So we'll see if the ceiling's even higher than what we're looking at now. My second love last week was Dallas Goedert against Baltimore. And actually, this was like the best week I've ever seen from tight ends ever. Like not even this year. I mean, he had 12.5 points. He scored a touchdown, I believe, and still only finished as tight end 15. That's right where I loved him, but usually that 12.5 would smash that. Maybe not smash, but definitely a top 10 week out of a tight end. Absolutely. So that was kind of unfortunate this week to pick a tight end there. Then my last one, I hated T. Higgins against Pittsburgh. I want to say he was wide receiver 8 or 9. Like he was top 10. He finished
at 8.
Yeah. So yeah, I predict him to finish lower than 8, which he did, but he still had a pretty solid week. And it's not like you're probably thinking about benching T. Higgins anyways. So maybe like a half win there for that one. So we'll take maybe like a 2 out of 3 on our scorecard with 2 halves.
Two out of 3 for sure.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I'll recap mine real quick. I liked Rico Dowdle. I want to say he was like in the 20 to 25 range. He finished at RB6 with 21.3 points. So that was a good play there. And then I love Tyrone Tracy. I want to say he was like kind of like around 25 there too. And he finished at RB17, finished with 14.5 points. Didn't get it done with the best bet there. So that was unfortunate. That one's a killer, but still got it done with the love hate. And then we loved Marv at 30, finished as the wide receiver 21 with 17, caught a touchdown. So it was all good there. Didn't get enough for the fantasy football win, but we'll take it. So
hey man, and he had a great comeback in that game. I want to say he had like 1.5 at halftime. So he had a great second to really propel him up there and beat wherever he was on that love list last week.
Yep, absolutely. Oh man, and I forgot. I think I bet him at over 60.5 yards and finished with 60. So Marv hurt me a little bit last week, but it's all right. Well, who you got for your love hates this week?
I was going to say, let's move into some better vibes here. We got some good picks this week. I saw you picked a couple hates, so I decided to keep it in the love realm. I feel like I'm the one that usually picks hates whenever we do them. So
I had to switch it up.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get it going. Let's see if we can nail a couple hates this week for you. For me though, I'm gonna stick with loves, and my first one's gonna be loving Tucker Kraft here against the Lions, tight end 15. I don't need to spew the same spiel every time. I think this will be a high scoring game. Vegas agrees with me. I believe the over under is 50.5. So I think it's a high-scoring game. Tucker Kraft has scored double digits each of the last 2 weeks, even though I believe 2 weeks ago was kind of a Mickey Mouse one where he caught a touchdown and only had like 2 catches or whatever. So, but the good thing is he's still playing like every snap. He's getting a lot of targets, still a lot of looks from Jordan Love, and an offense that maybe looked crowded at the beginning of the year. He's really been able to solidify his position as the tight end one there. And like I said before, maybe the last few episodes, I just like to pick tight ends that I think have a good chance of scoring, and I really like his chances to score in this one. That last Green Bay Detroit game outside was nasty stuff. I think both offenses are going to be ready to prove something this week, even though the Lions still had a decent day offensively. I think both are going to move the ball pretty well in this one, and Tucker Kraft's got a good chance to score.
Definitely. I was going to say, I mean, I kind of like almost every player in this game, fantasy wise or fantasy wise, except for maybe Jordan Love, which like he's on my roster right now. I mean, he's projected 13.7 points, which is really low. I know both defenses aren't bad, and like Green Bay's is pretty good against the pass, I believe. But I expect high scoring, and I mean this game they're going to lay it all on the line. It's a divisional game. Packers are very well still in the hunt. They both had really good seasons, so maybe we'll sprinkle a Tucker Kraft touchdown tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'll start off with my first love hate. It's my only love of the week. We're going loving Tank Bigsby at 33. He didn't quite split carries with ETN last week, and I kind of expected him to. It was a weird game. He got out carried 13-7, but I'm still anticipating this being kind of a split backfield. What else did I put? I know the QB situation. We got Mac Jones coming in for Trevor Lawrence. I don't think Mac Jones is that bad. Brian Thomas kind of connected with him in the games that Max played. So I don't really get scared about the QB situation. And in 33 just seems too low for me. I think the volume will be there, and that's a low number to beat. So loving him at 33.
I love this pick. I actually almost hated ETN this week as one of my picks, but he's all the way down at like 22. I was like, he doesn't even have to have that good of a week to beat it. So I really like Tank Bigsby. You were talking about the splits. I think I saw it was ETN 14 and Bigsby 7, I want to say, in carries, but the snaps were almost like dead even between the two of them. So Tank Bigsby's getting on the field. And the thing I couldn't find, though, and I'm kind of mad because I was looking for this, was like, if it was like later in the game when like Tank Bigsby or ETN was getting like a chunk of their snaps when the game was a little more out of control, I guess, but I couldn't find that. So I don't know for sure, like if both of them were playing like split snaps, when the game was meaningful, but like regardless, it's good to see he was on the field for a good chunk of them and he got a third of the carries. I think he also got involved in the passing game. So I really like him down here. I don't think he should be that much lower than ETN, which is kind of a long-winded way of saying that.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm not getting him in my lineup this week. It's still a little far away for that. But I do expect him to go over 33.
Yep. Okay, I guess back over to me. I'll love a different running back as well. He's on my team. He's been pretty bad this past month or so, but I'm going to love Kenneth Walker this week against Arizona. He's RB14 this week. And the one thing that's really been killing him so far is he hasn't scored a touchdown in the last 5 games. The Seahawks offense really hasn't been moving the ball, I think, as well as I expected going into the year, or they did in some games at the beginning of the year. I always think back to that Lions game where it was a complete shootout on Monday night. We've never really seen that out of the Seahawks offense. I think this division game actually could end up being somewhat high scoring. I actually was thinking about taking the over in this one because it's all the way down at like 44 or so. But their last game, I think they scored a combined like 25. So I kind of stayed away from this one. But I do like the Seahawks offense to have a pretty good day. I like both these offenses to have a pretty good day. And then Kenneth Walker just needs to find the end zone. He can have a pretty good fantasy day. These last 5 games, like I've said, since he scored, he's had 14 plus carries in 4 of them. I think there was only one where he didn't get like a crazy amount of carries, and one of them was even 25. So he's still getting a ton of work, and he's even been involved. I don't think last game he was, but usually every game he's involved in the passing game. So I expect a bounce back game at some point for Kenneth Walker. He really just needs to find that end zone, and I think that this week could be the week. Maybe one thing I didn't add to is that the Cardinals, they're not like one of the premier like bad rushing defenses you want to attack in fantasy, but they're still a favorable matchup overall for Kenneth Walker. So I'm going to love him at running back 14.
Definitely, yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, Charbonnet's taken a couple of touchdowns. He had one in week 8, and then he had one last week. But I really don't think he's much of a concern. He hasn't had more than 6 carries in the last 6 weeks, so he's really not taking it away from him. And I mean, at the beginning of the season, Kenneth Walker was pretty unstoppable too. So I like it. I expect him to get it going as well. So
yeah. I'm never really scared about Charbonnet. It was weird last week that he ended up like running one in kind of a scenario where he's not usually in. I feel like he's just more like that 2-minute type guy, or like obvious like third down passing situation. And then they just threw him in on the goal line and he scored. And I was just not happy about that one. But yeah, he's not a super big concern, I don't think, of taking work, kind of like we were talking about with Bigsby and ETN. I could definitely see Bigsby eating into that role, but like Charbonnet versus Walker, it's a no-brainer who's better between the tackles, even if he hasn't been performing great between the tackles maybe the past couple weeks.
Definitely. Well, alrighty. Well, we're gonna switch it up here, and we're gonna do a hate. I don't think I've done a hate in at least a month, probably. I don't know how long it's been, but we're gonna hate Puka Nacua at number 2 wide receiver. Don't get me wrong, I really don't like quote unquote hate Puka this week. But two seems a little too high for me. Cooper Kupp did not have a great week last week. I expect Stafford to kind of get him back involved in the game a little bit. And then you look at the Buffalo defense, it's pretty decent. I mean, they've allowed the 4th least amount of fantasy points per game to wide receiver. So I'm willing to bet on Puka not finishing as a top 2 wide receiver this week. And more so Cooper Kupp kind of getting involved a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, he's a great player, obviously, but wide receiver 2 is always hard to hit. So probably not a bad bet to take someone near the top. And like your reasoning, they're playing the Bills, so it's going to be a tough matchup for him. But we'll see. I think the only thing I'm concerned with is that this just becomes a shootout, which I'm not like certain. This was another one where I was kind of looking at the over-under, and I was like, I kind of like the over here, but I could see this maybe turning into a defensive game because the Bills have a good defense and the Rams have some good defensive players. They're just not as well-rounded as the Bills. So I could see this turning into a low-scoring game. Like I said, that's why I didn't take the over as one of my best bets. And if that's the case, Puka's probably going to have a long day if he's ranked at wide receiver 2.
Definitely. No, I'm with you there too. And like I kind of feel that way about Lions Packers tomorrow. It's like, okay, I can totally anticipate this being a shootout, but then like I will not be surprised if it's like 14-10 final score and it's just a grind of a game. So we'll see there. I'm staying away from the over and unders in both those games.
Yeah. I think that's kind of just what happens when both, like on both sides of the ball, both teams are at least like decent. It's always hard to tell. And I even think like the Seahawks Cardinals game, like they're both decent on both sides of the ball. I think that's what makes it hard to really decide, because those games could get close if the defenses step up, but you never know. They could have some off weeks for sure.
Absolutely.
And I just fact checked you on your last hate. It was during our week 7 preview, and we are now on our week 14 preview. So it's almost been 2 weeks. But I will say, you did hit last time. You picked Garrett Wilson. You finished as wide receiver 20, and I want to say he was like top 5 in the rankings. So you hit last time. We'll see if you can make it 2 in a row, even though it's been like 2 months.
All righty. Well, how about three in a row? I got another one after your next one, so we'll
All
see.
right.
We don't want to get too greedy though.
Yeah. Well, this one's gonna be nice and quick, so we can get into your hate. I'm gonna love Isaac Guerrero this week against the Bears. He's ranked as running back 21. Kind of similar to Kenneth Walker. The Bears actually they're not like one of the premier rushing defense that you want to attack in fantasy. They're a favorable matchup, which I think I was kind of surprised to see that they're not great against running backs in fantasy. So that bodes well for Guerrero. And the main thing of why I was loving him here is if Jordan Mason was the running back for the Niners, he would be way higher than this. And I don't see what the difference is between the two. I think this could be a big bounce back week for the San Francisco offense after their two bad games the past 2 weeks. I guess Purdy didn't play 2 games ago, which kind of contributed to that. But they played in very cold environments. They're not used to it. Now they're back at home playing the Bears, who aren't like a phenomenal team, and their defense has kind of been slipping. So, yeah, with all that being said, I'm going to love Guerrero at 21.
Hey, not so fast there on Purdy bouncing back this week. I do like the Guerrero pick. I mean, they signed like Patrick Taylor Jr. Like that guy's not getting more than 5 carries. Who knows? But totally agree with you. Guerrero is, in my opinion, almost or just as good as Jordan Mason. So love the pick there. He's definitely way too low. But that being said, this 49ers offense, they're gonna hand the ball off all game. Guerrero, they're gonna ride him out, and we're gonna hate Brock Purdy at number 6. Why am I doing this? I was looking at the QB list, and like there were just so many guys that were below Purdy that I would way rather start in fantasy this week over Brock Purdy. I mean, he plays Chicago. They're not that by no means they're not a bad defense at all. They're pretty decent. And what also I was looking at, I mean, Purdy had 94 yards last week, 154 yards the week before. Like you said, I mean, it was in cold weather. It wasn't what they were used to. I'm all right with that. I'm still going to fade him here. And if you take out the rushing touchdown he had like 2 weeks ago, I mean, he's not putting up more than 10 or 11 fantasy points. So we're going to stay with him staying cold. I expect this game to be a little bit on the lower scoring side. So we'll see, but we're going to hate Brock Purdy at 6.
This just sounds like some anti-Ron propaganda here, but
I'm
I'm guessing.
Ron.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, you're rooting for him. But yeah, I'm guessing he's probably starting Bo Nix anyway, so it's probably not a huge concern, I guess, for Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'm a little skeptical of this one, I guess, because like I said, I expect the Niners offense to bounce back. But 6 is really high.
Yep.
So I mean, there's I know Richardson's on a bye this week, but there are still like a lot of elite quarterbacks playing this week. So 6 is going to be really high. We'll see if he can hit it, but I could definitely see it with how I expect this Niners offense to bounce back.
Hey, Purdy's going to throw for 280, 1 touchdown, and Grando's going to run for 150 and 2 touchdowns. So
all right,
their offense is going to thrive through him.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. I feel like Kyle Shanahan has a history of just doing stuff that makes me angry in fantasy, so probably not going to happen.
Fair enough. All righty. Well, good luck to you on those love hates. We'll see how the hates go for me. I don't know, but I love all 3 of your loves. But we'll move into a trivia question. I got one for you. It's definitely a little different. And I'm prepared to give hints, but I got good confidence in you. So as we all know, fantasy football playoffs are coming up next week. We're going to go with the last year's playoff season. So weeks 15 through 17, guys who probably helped their fantasy teams and whatever team they were on. But who were the top 10 players that scored the most PPR points in last year's playoffs?
I love this question. I think I might struggle a little bit. I know CeeDee Lamb's going to be 1.
CD is 1.
Okay, he absolutely torched the Lions in week 17. So I remember that one. I think he even had another 40-point game in the playoffs. So you might know better than me. You were the one that had him.
Definitely helped me out there. He was a big part last year.
All right, let's go with Tyreek. Maybe is he on there?
Tyreek, I was surprised he was not. I think he was number 15.
He might have had some tough games against like the Jets or the Bills, like come playoff time. Like maybe he didn't have a huge outstanding performance there. What about Amon-Ra?
Amon-Ra is number 4.
Ooh, okay. I don't love Jamar Chase, but I'll guess him. He's just on my mind.
He is not on here.
Oh, Jettis. Is Jettis on there? He came back at the end of the year.
Who? Sorry, you cut out. Jefferson is not on here either.
Oh, wow. He had a big game against the Lions, too, in the fantasy playoffs. Okay. I feel like there's just got to be a lot of wide receivers on there, and I don't remember. Oh, Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper, number 6.
I was gonna say I'm trying to think of like my specific stuff, and he torched me, so that makes a lot of sense. Man, I feel Mike Evans had a big year last year. Was he on here by chance?
He is not. And I will say QBs are included in this list.
Oh, QBs are included. Okay, I don't think I ever would have gone there.
Nope.
So I mean, Josh Allen, I guess. Jalen Hurts, are either of them on there?
Jalen Hurts is number 10. Josh Allen is not.
Okay. So maybe quarterback. There aren't many quarterbacks on there if there are some, because that is low.
Yeah, and I can give you what positions are left if you want.
Okay, let me try to get a couple more here. I haven't really thought of running backs. It's the first one out of my mouth really going to be Raheem Mostert.
Mostert is not on here.
That didn't feel great, but I know he just balled last year, so that's why I was thinking that might be the case. Breece Hall, is he on here?
Breece Hall is number 5.
Okay. Bijan, I feel like that doesn't feel good, but
Bijan, nope.
Yeah, Arthur Smith was still there. That's unfortunate. Okay. Like I feel like guys like Henry wasn't very good last year. Saquon was can't be Saquon. I don't know if he played, I guess, those weeks, but he didn't have a good year last year, even when he was playing. Kyron, is he on there?
Kyron, number 7.
Okay. How many more do I have?
You have 4 more.
Oh man, I thought I had more than that.
Number 2, number 3, number 8, and number 9.
Oh, so we still got some big dogs up there. Yes. Oh, McCaffrey.
Yep, number 2.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I guess he's barely played. He never crossed my mind.
Yep.
Okay. What about no? I was gonna say AJ Brown, but he fell off at the end of last year. It can't be him.
Nope.
And like Diggs fell off at the end of last year. It can't be him. About Nico Collins.
Nico Collins not on here.
Man, even with Tank Dell out, he wasn't balling like that.
I'll help you out here. There are no more running backs or wide receivers on this list.
All quarterbacks? Okay.
All QBs.
Oh, I was going to say we're
tight ends. No tight ends.
Okay. Who is – Jordan Love's got to be on there. He was balling
Jordan
at the end
Love,
of the year.
Number 9.
Yeah. Yep. I should have gotten that one faster. I knew he was killing it at the end of the year. I mean, it's not Mahomes, right?
Nope.
I was going to say that wouldn't make any sense. Kyler?
Kyler's not on here. Nope.
He came back at the end of last year. I can't remember if he was that good or not. Like Stroud fell off at the end of last year. I don't think it's him.
Nope.
Is it? Oh, I thought you were like, it is him. I was like, I'm pretty sure he was terrible after the midway point last year. Is it Burrow? No, Burrow was hurt.
Not here either. Nope.
Oh man, who are these quarterbacks?
They were at the time both in the same division.
Is it? I was gonna say Fields, but now that doesn't really make any sense. I don't think. At the time.
I
don't like that hint. Now I'm thinking of like who's moved teams. Is it Lamar?
Lamar's number 3.
I can't believe I didn't guess him yet. So
that narrows it down a little bit. Last one.
Dude, like it can't be Watson. Is Jake Browning? Who was the Steelers quarterback? Oh no. Who took over after Pickett was like gone? Is that who it is? It's a Steelers guy?
No, it is not.
Oh.
Now I'm double checking myself to make sure I didn't mess this up. Hang on. Yeah, I'm not. I'm right. Yeah.
Who? Oh, Deshaun got hurt last year.
There you go.
Dude, I'm blanking on who is their quarterback.
He sucked it up in the playoff game against CJ Stroud.
Oh, it's Flacco. There's no way,
there we
dude.
Go.
There's no way he's on there.
Number 8.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy. All right, I'm not too mad with how I did there.
No, I was going to say that was pretty great.
I thought the list was going to be trickier. I think I was like getting myself caught up and not just like guessing all the best players. Like Cooper and Love, I at least knew those, I guess, which probably helped out that they would be up there.
I was going to say you knew CD, you knew Amon-Ra, you knew Breece, Love, Hurts. I mean Amari, you pretty all the position players you got pretty quick.
Yeah, we'll take it, dude. I can't believe I forgot about Flacco, man. And even if like he had crossed my mind, I would have probably said Jake Browning before him, like almost certainly.
Yeah, well, then I was like, oh shit! Like you said, Deshaun. I was like, wait, was Flacco not in? I'm like,
No,
and then
you're
I
right.
started to think myself.
I apparently forgot all the quarterback injuries last year, so that's on me.
Hey, all good, all good. Alrighty, well, let's get in. Let's get into best bets. I guess I can start it off real quick because I went 0-2 again. I had mentioned it earlier. Dowdle and Tracy rushing yards parlay. Dowdle got the job done. Tracy could not get it. Still had a good fantasy week, but didn't have him on my fantasy team, or did I? Or didn't he didn't hit my bet? So we'll take the loss there. And then we also did not get the win on the Packers Lions parlay. Lions, I don't know, man. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it was a really, really bad second half. I'm actually surprised we haven't talked about it at all before this. I guess we didn't have any Bears Lions picks until right now, but yeah, it was really weird. I mean, we haven't won on Thanksgiving in like 8 years, and I don't even think I like smiled at the end of the game. Like my face was just like for like 2 straight minutes. I was just like, did we just win? Like I couldn't even really tell what happened. But yeah, the second half was really weird. Our offense just kind of forgot how to move the ball, which was a little unfortunate. I feel like there were a lot of punts, which our offense doesn't really have. And also the Bears offense just did a great job of hitting big plays downfield. I will say though, refs, you suck. Biggest missed hold I've ever seen on that Keenan Allen 40-yard touchdown. So if that had gotten called, things might have been a little different and it wouldn't have been that close, but oh well. Lions at least still pulled off a win, so I'm happy there. But yeah, this bet didn't hit, and it didn't even – I guess I should say too, we suffered a lot of injuries in this game, I guess. I think one of the things I called out before is that we're really banged up going into it, and then we kind of just had like a lot of defensive end injuries throughout the game. So that certainly didn't help out either. I didn't, I guess, predict a bunch of injuries to happen, but one's on top of the ones I was already a little concerned about happened, and that probably put the nail in the coffin.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I was kind of losing my mind on that game, but I also had Caleb Williams over like 200 or maybe 225. He did not look good in the first half, and then he came to life in the second half. So I was like, okay, this is really good, but wait, kind of need the Lions to score some points here.
Dude, I'd be interested to see those cash out values at halftime for both those bets. I'm sure the Lions, well, I guess it was parlayed with the Packers, so maybe if it was just like a straight bet, but like that one was probably like almost full cash out value, and then the Caleb Williams one was like 10 cents.
Literally. Yeah, they probably wouldn't have even offered me 10 cents. It was horrible.
Yeah, I forget. I mean, he had like I think less than 50 yards at halftime or close to it, and funny enough, Richie, shout out to him. He's a big Bears fan, and we were playing the Lions, and he texted me before. He's like, "You want to take like just a bet to like first to 50 yards for quarterbacks?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Jared Goff hit on like the second drive, and Caleb Williams might not have hit until the second half. So at least I got that bet through.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, and I guess into my bets probably leads pretty well because I had that one as well. Obviously didn't hit. And then from that game, I actually did have a hit, I guess, which was the DJ Moore over 52.5 passing yards. I want to say he finished with a little less than 100, so not really much of a big sweat there. And actually, funny enough, I originally had, instead of that bet, I had the under in this game, which that one would have hit as well. So ended up not mattering between the two. I should have had both of them on here instead of this two-team parlay, as well as the Buccaneers -6.5. Tough game against the Panthers. Panthers have looked really good of late. They're definitely not a pushover team like they used to be. You definitely got to play good football against them, which I definitely did not expect at the beginning of the year, especially after the first month or so. But shout out to Bryce Young. He seems to be turning things around. So we'll see how his career continues to go for the next few years.
Definitely. Buccaneers. How you feel about them this week? No way you're taking them again, right?
I feel fantastic about him this week, and I'm going to take him again -6.5. Same bet 3 weeks in a row. We're 1-1 right now. And this week we actually didn't move the line. They are just straight up -6.5 against the Raiders. And I don't think I really have too much to say here other than I feel like the Bucs are always kind of disrespected by the books. I feel like it's kind of been that way all year. I don't really know what their record is against the spreads, I guess, necessarily on the year. But I feel like every time I really like where they have the spread out for the Buccaneers, whether it hits or not. And I think, I mean, a touchdown's not a lot to beat a Raiders team that doesn't look great. I know they had a pretty good game last week against the Chiefs, but everyone plays their best game against the Chiefs, so it doesn't really matter. I still don't have a lot of faith in Aiden O'Connell. I don't think he's going to be slinging the ball around the yard like Baker Mayfield will. So roll Baker, give me him again. Let's go Bucs.
I was gonna say they had their game of the year last week, even though they didn't win. Could have won like 7 times, but besides that, they got 2 wins. They're ready to tank. Bucks all the way, baby.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
speaking of teams playing their best games against the Chiefs, I've had enough of the Chiefs winning. They're 11-1. Give me the Chargers +4. Might sprinkle that later on before game time. Sprinkle the money line, but give me the +4. I got the field goal as a little cushion, but I really don't have any stats here or anything. I'm just straight up fading the Chiefs. I feel like they're always in very close games. The Chargers team has played really well. I love Herbert and McConkey right now. They've been playing out of their minds. So give me the points with the Chargers on what, Sunday night, maybe Monday night.
Yeah,
But
I think it's Sunday night, I want to say. But yeah, I do like this pick because I feel like the Chiefs like never cover their spread. It seems like almost every game they don't really cover it. I'm still mad about that stupid bet that I made during the Black Friday game. I asked you what you liked, and you were like Bowers 50 plus, Hopkins 25 plus parlay. But I see that I have a boost if I pick 3 legs. So I'm like, let me pick the 13.5 favorite Chiefs and just take a -2.5. And then they win by 2. So
brutal.
yeah, missed opportunity there. I'm still mad at the Chiefs. So I'm saying, yeah, let's fade them. I'm all in.
Love it. Yeah, Chiefs deserve a lot. They ain't gonna happen. Lions deserve the best record in the NFL.
Agreed.
Get out of there, Chiefs.
Couldn't have said it better. And actually, one thing I wanted to touch on with this game too, I guess, is I think I was like excited to take the under as one of my best bets for this one. And then I go on there and it's like 42.5. I was like, oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be like a touchdown higher. So now I'm probably not getting in on that because the over is the only thing that makes sense. And I hate the over. So
yep, I'm with you.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm staying away from over-unders. We're going with another spread here, another 6.5. So we need another touchdown winner, and we're going to go with the Dolphins this week against the Jets, also at home. I think with this one, like the Jets are just looking super dysfunctional. I don't even know how many in a row that they've lost now, but it's been a very significant number despite bringing in Devontae Adams and mortgaging their franchise to Aaron Rodgers. They're looking really rough. And I think the Dolphins are in a good spot for a bounce back. They had a rough week last week against the Packers, but it was cold weather, and I just think these NFC North teams are very good. So when teams play them that you think are good outside the NFC North, you come to find that some of them aren't very good when they play one of these teams. So I'm not super concerned about their performance last week. Also cold weather. They're going to be back at home this week, so that's good. Tua is going to be in his environment. And then the last thing I wanted to add here is that they played the Rams, Raiders, and Patriots the last 3 weeks. So 2 of the teams maybe not great. I think the Patriots are kind of frisky though. But the 3 games before that, they would have covered this spread in all of them. And those Patriots and Raiders games would have been super handily, and they would have even covered against the Rams. So I think their offense has really come back now with Tua back in the fold. When he first came back, they lost to the Cardinals and the Bills, but you can't really knock them for losing to the Bills by 3. After that, other than the Packers game in the cold, I think they've been moving the ball great, and I just don't have a lot of confidence in the Jets. So I'm going to take the Dolphins, even though I definitely don't like this one as much as my other pick, but I don't think I really like a lot of the board this week. So I don't know how many more bets I'll actually be getting in on this board outside the best bets.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a little ugly, not gonna lie. I didn't go with another spread pick here. I've got another player prop, but back to your point, I totally agree. I mean, the Jets are absolutely dog poop. I mean, Breece Hall's still going to get in the end zone 3 times this week, but they're going to find a way to lose by 14. Tua's been looking really good, and like you said, they're back at home. So love the pick there. My last pick, we are doing what I said I would never do again. We're going back to the Thursday night player prop parlay. We're going back to another guy who hurt me in the past, but he's also done very well for me. We're going to go David Montgomery, 50 rushing yards, and we're going to put in Jaden Reed, 25 receiving yards. Just looked right now. Jaden Reed has not gotten more than 25 receiving yards in the last 3 games. He's had 24, 23, and 24, something like that. So a little scared there now that I actually looked into it a little bit more. But already locked it in. I think it's at -115, maybe -117. But like we talked about earlier, I mean, kind of expect this, and at least are hoping for this game to be a little bit high scoring. And I mean, Jaden Reed was awesome at the beginning of the year. Kind of expect Jordan Love to get him back into this game, and just get 1 catch for 26 yards, and we'll be golden. So
Yeah, dude,
that's my plan.
I love that. I think Jade Reed should have no problem getting those yards. I mean, we saw what Caleb Williams was doing to the Lions in the second half last game. He was really picking them apart with all those weapons he has, and Green Bay's no different, but they have a little bit of a better quarterback. Maybe not better weapons, but they have a bigger variety of weapons, I feel like, as disposal for Jordan Love. So I can definitely see him getting Jade Reed just one play, like you said. I mean, downfield, the Lions defense has shown that they could give up some big plays. So I can definitely see that happen. And then as for Montgomery, I mean, I always love betting on David Montgomery. I feel like he's always a pretty good bet when it comes to anytime touchdown and his rush yards, but especially this game against Green Bay. It's going to be a rivalry game. It's a big one. Both these teams are going to want it. So I think this, like we said, it could be a very high-scoring game in this one. So 50 yards for Monty should be no problem if that's the case, as well as if just the Lions get out to a lead, which could be a possibility for both teams. So if that happens, Montgomery could certainly get a lot of rushing yards early. And then also for Monty, I guess the other thing I was going to add, which I don't know how much this will play into it, but the whole Gibbs thing, maybe we could see him take a little bit of a back seat this week after he leaked the playbook or whatever. So Montgomery maybe gets like a couple extra touches, which might help out a little bit. I don't know if that'll actually be the case. I've seen people saying like to bench Gibbs or something like
They ain't benching him.
it's not going to happen.
Nah, but I hope that's the case, man. I hope Monty gets 30 touches and goes off. So we'll see here. But
Yep.
one thing that I forgot to mention earlier. So all this year I've been struggling. I've got like 6 very below average wide receivers that I just always end up starting the wrong one. This week I'm gonna be sweating. I don't think I'm gonna go to bed all night. I'm gonna be thinking about this one. I've got 3 active quarterbacks on my roster right now, not including Jaden Daniels, who's on bye. I picked up Jared Goff. I picked up Matthew Stafford, and I already had Jordan Love on my roster. Looking at Love, I was like, okay, don't necessarily love him. I mean, his projection's really low. I don't know what'll happen. I mean, the Detroit defense, like you always say, you always pick a wide receiver against them because they give up a lot of receiving yards. So I'm going to sweat that. But then also, I was looking ahead to who I was playing, and I'm playing Barrett, who didn't have a QB. He didn't even make a waiver claim for a QB. He picked up Will Levis, who was the most projected points out of all of them by like 2 or 3 points. And I was like, you know what? You can have him. I'm gonna call it right now. Levis is going for 30. Whatever QB I start this week, I don't know which one it's gonna be, is going for like 8 points. So it wouldn't make my season. Or it wouldn't be a better fit to my season by starting the worst one out of these 3 and letting Will Levis go off. So just had to plug that in there.
Dude, I forgot to ask you, like, because I've been like at that work thing for the past 2 days, basically. So I haven't looked at my phone much. Like literally, I got home from work at 10:30 yesterday. I did my waiver claims and then I went to bed. So I feel like I haven't really looked at fantasy too much. But I saw today, I was like, why did he pick up Goff? Like, doesn't he have Daniels and Jordan Love on his team? But now that totally makes a lot of sense. So hopefully we'll see if you can get the leg up on Barrett. I will say though, when Riley tried to do that to me with Drake May, Jared Goff scored 35. So hopefully you can avoid that scenario from happening.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Who knows what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sweat this one, so we'll see. But anyways, I think that covers everything for this week's episode. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, very good. Good luck to everybody this week. Got a lot of things that can happen. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Mr. Dean Singus on here next week with the 1% chance playoff probability getting in there. So good luck to everybody. Go Colts, go Lions. Well, Colts aren't by this week, but good luck, and we'll see everybody next week with the playoff scenarios.
Get your Dean playoff tickets plus 5,000. Get them while they're hot.